The large doors of the Galactic Council chamber swung open. Ambassador Alan Richards walked in with 5 other humans behind him. His face showed no emotion as he moved toward the human section. The aliens watched him. Some had scales. Others had fur. A few glowed with strange colors. All 73 species had seats in the great round room. Richards sat down and placed his tablet on the table. Captain Samantha Miller stood behind him. Her uniform was clean and pressed. Her eyes moved around the room, watching everything. "The Council will now discuss the Proxima incident," said Supreme Counselor Zorak. His voice was loud and scratchy. His 6 arms moved as he spoke. The skin on his face was dark purple and covered with small bumps. Richards tapped his screen. Images appeared in the center of the room. They showed a human space station broken into pieces. Bodies floated in space among the wreckage. 3,000 human colonists died when Varaxian ships attacked Proxima Station, Richards said. His voice was calm but firm. "We have proof the attack was planned. We demand the Council recognize this as an act of war." Zorak waved one of his arms. "We have been over this many times, human. The Varaxian Empire has explained this was a mistake. Their ships thought your station was a military base. The Council has accepted this explanation." Richard stood up slowly. His eyes were hard. "For 3 months we have talked. For 3 months we have shown you proof. The Varaxians knew it was a civilian station. They attacked anyway." A blue alien, with long tentacles, moved forward. "Ambassador Richards, please. We understand your anger. But the Varaxian Empire is an important member of this council. We cannot accuse them without perfect proof." Captain Miller leaned down and whispered something in Richard's ear. He nodded. "The United Earth government has made its final decision," Richards said. He closed his tablet. "If the Council will not acknowledge the murder of our people, then the Council no longer serves humanity's interests." The room grew very quiet. No one moved. "What are you saying, Ambassador?" asked Zorak. His voice was softer now. "I am saying that as of this moment, humanity withdraws from the Galactic Cooperative Treaty. We will no longer follow Council rules or restrictions. We will no longer trade with Council worlds. We will no longer help defend Council space." The room exploded with noise. Aliens shouted and waved their limbs. Some stood up from their seats. Tall, thin alien with pale skin that glowed slightly pushed through the crowd. "Ambassador Richards, you cannot do this." It was Neela Tun of the Centauri Federation. "The treaty has kept peace for 500 years. A peace that allows the strong to kill the weak without punishment is no peace at all," Richards replied. He turned to his team. "We are leaving." The human delegation began walking toward the exit. Voices called out behind them. "Your colonies need our trade. Your ships cannot defend your space alone. The Thalassian Empire will attack your outer worlds within days." Richards kept walking. Captain Miller and the others followed. When they reached the door, Richards turned one last time to face the Council. "For 20 years, humanity has followed your rules. We have limited our ships. We have shared our technology. We have fought in your wars. And when our people were killed, you looked away." His voice was still calm, but now everyone could hear the anger beneath it. "Remember this moment, counselors. Remember that you had a choice." The doors closed behind the humans with a deep, heavy sound. In the Earth Government Building in Geneva, Chancellor Laura Peterson watched the video feed from the council chambers. Around her, the emergency cabinet meeting waited in silence. "They did it," said Foreign Minister Darius Washington. "They really walked out." Peterson nodded. Ambassador Richards followed his orders perfectly. Defense Secretary Henry Goldstein looked worried. "Chancellor, the Varaxians have 200 warships near our colony on Tau Ceti. Without council protection, the Varaxians won't attack." Peterson cut him off. "Not right away. They'll wait to see if we're serious." "And are we?" asked Maria Alvarez, the communications director. "Are we really leaving the council after 20 years?" Peterson walked to the large window. Outside, she could see the lights of Geneva and the dark shape of the mountains beyond. "The council gave us no choice. The Proxima attack was a test. The Varaxians wanted to see what they could get away with. "What do we do now?" Washington asked. "Now we show them what humanity looks like when we stop following their rules." Peterson turned back to face her cabinet. "Mr. Goldstein, activate the Phoenix Protocol." Goldstein's eyes widened. "The Phoenix Protocol? But that's a plan we created 5 years ago for this exact situation," Peterson finished for him. "Deploy the hidden fleets to protect our colonies. Open the sealed research labs. Begin production of the weapons we designed but never built, because of Council restrictions." "The Council will see that as an act of aggression," Washington warned. "No," Peterson said firmly. "They will see it as an act of independence." Across human space, hidden plans came to life. On Mars, secret shipyards powered up. On Europa, weapon labs unsealed their doors. On distant colonies, hidden defense systems activated. Back in the council chambers, the aliens argued among themselves. "This is your fault," shouted the representative from the Eldorian collective. Her translucent wings buzzed with anger as she pointed at Zorak. "You pushed the humans too far." "The humans are bluffing," Zorak said, but his voice lacked conviction. "They will return when they realize they need us." Neela Tan shook her glowing head. "You fool. Don't you understand what we've done? For 20 years we've been holding them back, limiting their ships, restricting their weapons, controlling their expansion." Her voice dropped low. "And now we've set them free." An aide rushed into the chamber. "Supreme Counselor, we're getting reports from the human sectors. Their ships are moving. All trade vessels have changed course. They're going home." The first day of humanity's independence had begun, and across the galaxy the Council realized they had made a terrible mistake. 1 week after humanity left the Galactic Council, Chancellor Laura Peterson stood in the command center beneath Geneva. Large screens showed the positions of ships and troops across human space. Red dots marked alien vessels near human colonies. There were many red dots. "The Thalassian Empire has moved 20 warships to the edge of the Tau Ceti system," said Defense Secretary Henry Goldstein. He pointed to a cluster of red dots on the main screen. "They haven't crossed the border yet, but they want us to see them." "And the Varaxians?" Peterson asked. "Their main fleet is still at their home base, but they've sent scout ships to all our outer colonies." Goldstein looked worried. "They're testing our defenses, looking for weak spots." Peterson nodded. She had expected this. "What about our ships?" "The 7th Fleet has reached Tau Ceti. The hidden ships from Europa base arrived at Proxima yesterday. All colonies now have at least basic protection." Maria Alvarez, the communications director, walked in holding a tablet. "Chancellor, we've received 14 messages from council members in the last hour. They all want to talk." "Not the Varaxians, I assume," Peterson said. "No, they haven't said a word since we left." "They're too proud," said Foreign Minister Washington. "But the others are scared. The Peloran worlds depend on our medical supplies. The Centauri need our help with their defense systems. The smaller species are afraid they'll be crushed without us to protect them from the bigger powers." Peterson looked at the map again. Human space was small compared to the territories of the older alien empires, but it was rich with resources and protected by the most advanced fleet humans could build under council restrictions. Now those restrictions were gone. "Tell the Centauri and the Pelorans we'll meet with them," Peterson said. "No full council sessions, just one-on-one talks." "The Varaxians won't like that," Washington warned. "They control the council through group pressure. If we start making separate deals—" "That's exactly what we want," Peterson said. "The council stays together because the big powers bully the smaller ones. Let's see what happens when we offer the small ones a different choice." Across the room, a young officer called out, "Chancellor, we're getting a signal from Mars Colony. Chief Engineer Cruz says the Defiance is ready for your inspection." Peterson smiled for the first time that day. "Tell her I'll be there tomorrow." Far away from Earth, on a small colony world called New Hope, Governor Frank Lee watched the sky with worry. Thalassian ships had been seen near the planet for 3 days. The colony had only a small defense force, 10 patrol ships and a few hundred soldiers. Lee stood in the control room of the colony's small spaceport. Screens showed 5 Thalassian warships just outside the system. Each one was bigger than anything the colony had. "Governor, the lead Thalassian ship is hailing us," said the communications officer. Lee took a deep breath. "Put them through." The screen lit up, showing a Thalassian commander. The alien's skin was gray and rough like stone. Its 4 eyes blinked at different times. "Governor Lee," the Thalassian said. Its voice was deep and echoed strangely. "I am Commander Vexel of the Thalassian Empire. Your colony is now without council protection. We offer ours assistance." Lee knew what that meant. The Thalassians wanted to take over the colony. "Thank you, Commander, but we don't need assistance," he said, trying to keep his voice steady. "We are under the protection of the Earth government." The Thalassian made a sound like rocks grinding together. It might have been a laugh. "Your Earth is far away, Governor. My ships are here now. We will arrive at your colony in 6 hours to begin our protection duties." The screen went dark. Lee turned to his staff. "Send an emergency message to Earth. Tell them the Thalassians are making their move." The communications officer shook his head. "Sir, the Thalassians are blocking our long-range signals." Lee felt cold fear grip his stomach. "Then we're on our own." 3 hours later, as the colony prepared for the worst, alarms sounded in the control room. "Multiple ships dropping out of faster-than-light travel," shouted the sensor operator. 30 vessels." "Thalassian?" Lee asked, his heart sinking. "No, sir." The operator looked up in surprise. "They're human ships. It's the 7th Fleet." On the main screen, human warships appeared one after another. They were smaller than the Thalassian vessels, but there were many more of them. At the center of the fleet was a ship Lee had never seen before. It was huge, with smooth lines, and weapons that glowed with blue light. "Governor, we're being hailed by the UES Defiance," said the communications officer. The screen showed a human woman in a captain's uniform. "Governor Lee, I'm Captain Lucy Rivera of the Defiance. We received your emergency signal through the quantum network. The Thalassians don't know about that yet." "Thank God you're here," Lee said. "But I thought the Defiance was still being built." Rivera smiled. "The Phoenix Protocol changed a lot of schedules, Governor. We've been ready for months, just waiting for the order to launch." She looked at something off-screen. "The Thalassians have noticed us. They're changing course." On another screen, Lee could see the 5 Thalassian ships turning around, moving quickly away from the colony. "They're running," he said in surprise. "They're not used to humans who can fight back," Rivera said. "For 20 years we've been playing by their rules. Now they get to see what we can really do." Back on Earth, Chancellor Peterson watched the video from New Hope with satisfaction. Around the table, her cabinet members looked relieved. "The Thalassians backed down," said Goldstein. "They didn't expect us to have ships that could get there so quickly. The quantum network worked perfectly." "What about the other colonies?" Peterson asked. "The same story everywhere," Goldstein said. "The aliens approach, we show up with ships they didn't know we had, they back away. No shots fired. For now," Washington added. "But this is just the beginning. The council races are still figuring out what our withdrawal means." "And the talks with the smaller species?" Peterson asked. "The Centauri want to meet tomorrow," Alvarez said. "The Pelorans the day after. 5 other species have also asked for meetings." Peterson nodded. "Good. Remember, everyone, we don't want war. We want respect. For 20 years, the Council has been using us while holding us back. That ends now." "What may? If they don't give us respect?" asked Washington. Peterson's face grew hard. "Then we show them why they should fear us instead." In the council chambers, the arguments grew louder each day. The big powers blamed each other for losing the humans. The smaller species began to wonder if they too should consider a different path. And in secret shipyards across human space, Vessels that had been forbidden by council law took shape. In hidden labs, weapons that had been only theories became real. Humanity had walked away from the council's table. Now they were building their own. 1 month had passed since humanity left the Galactic Council. On Mars Colony, Chief Engineer Olivia Cruz walked through the largest shipyard in human space. Workers moved around her, carrying tools and materials. Above them, the massive shape of a new ship took form. The UES Liberty will be finished 2 weeks ahead of schedule, Cruz said to her assistant Kevin Wright. Without council restrictions on our building methods, we can work 3 times faster. Wright nodded as he looked at his tablet. And the new shield technology? Testing at 200%, better than the old council-approved shields. Cruz smiled. Turns out our scientists had better ideas all along. They just weren't allowed to use them. They stopped at a viewing platform. From here they could see 5 more ships being built. Each one would have been illegal under council law. Any word from the Varaxians? Wright asked. Cruz's smile faded. They've gone quiet. No communications, no ship movements. Intelligence thinks they're building up for something big. Do you think there will be war? Cruz looked up at the red Martian sky. I think we need to be ready for one. Meanwhile, on Earth, Ambassador Richards sat in a meeting room with representatives from 7 smaller alien species. The aliens looked nervous. Meeting with humans outside the council was not something they would have dared to do a month ago. My government offers trade agreements to each of your worlds, Richards said. No council tariffs, direct exchange of goods and technology, protection from the larger powers if needed. Key Lara of the Lyrans leaned forward. Her fur rippled with excitement. These terms are very generous, Ambassador. What do you want in return? Recognition of human independence, Richards said, and acknowledgement of the Proxima incident as an attack, not an accident. The aliens looked at each other. Going against the official council position would anger the Varaxians. The Varaxians will cut off our trade routes if we support you, said the Talaxian representative. His antenna twitched with worry. Richards nodded. They might try. But ask yourselves this. Who would you rather have as an ally? The power that threatens you or the power that offers to protect you? The aliens whispered among themselves. Finally, Kilara spoke. The Lyran Confederation will sign your agreement, Ambassador. The Varaxians have bullied us for too long. One by one, the other representatives nodded their agreement. Richards tried not to show his satisfaction. The council was beginning to crack. Far from Earth, at the edge of human space, Captain Lucy Rivera stood on the bridge of the UES Defiance. Her ship patrolled the border near Varaxian territory. Captain, we're picking up something on long-range sensors, said her first officer, Paul Green. Multiple ships coming out of faster-than-light travel. Rivera moved to the sensor station. Varaxian? Yes, Captain. 40 warships heading straight for the Horizon colony. Rivera felt her heart beat faster. Horizon was one of the smallest human colonies, with fewer than 10,000 people. It had only basic defenses. Alert Earth Command, she ordered. Then, set course for Horizon. Maximum speed. Captain, even at top speed, we'll be 3 hours behind the Varaxians, Green said. The colonists will have to hold out until we get there. Rivera's face was grim. And alert any other human ships in the sector. We're going to need help. On Horizon Colony, Governor Susan Clark received the warning just as Varaxian ships appeared in the sky. Evacuation order to all outlying settlements, she commanded. Get everyone to the main shelter. The colony's small defense force prepared for the worst. They had only 6 patrol ships and a ground-based shield generator. Against 40 Varaxian warships, they wouldn't last long. Clark watched. The screens as Varaxian ships surrounded the colony. They made no attempt to communicate. Then, without warning, they opened fire. The shield generator hummed as it absorbed the first attack. The colony shook. Shield at 80% and dropping, reported the defense chief. We can't take much more of this. Clark sent another urgent message to Earth. The Varaxians were jamming long-range communications, but the quantum network might get through. Hold out as long as you can, she told her people. Help is coming. The shields dropped to 50%, then 30%. The patrol ships fought bravely, but they were being destroyed one by one. Just as the main shield failed, the sensors operator shouted, "New ships dropping out of faster than light. They're not in our database." On the screen, strange ships appeared. They were sleek and black with no visible weapons. They moved between the colony and the Varaxian fleet. The communication system crackled. "Horizon Colony, this is the UES Nighthawk, Phoenix Protocol Special Division. Hold tight." The mysterious ships released small objects toward the Varaxian fleet. As they reached the enemy ships, they exploded into clouds of glowing particles. Varaxian weapons stopped firing. Their engines died. "What is happening?" Clark asked in amazement. "The Varaxian ships are powering down," said the sensor operator. "All of them. They're dead in space." 20 minutes later, the UES Defiance arrived with 10 more human warships. The Varaxian fleet hung motionless in space, caught in the strange glowing clouds. Captain Rivera hailed the colony. "Governor Clark, are you all right?" "We are, thanks to..." "Who are they?" Clark pointed to the black ships. "Phoenix Protocol Special Division," Rivera said. "A secret fleet built outside. Council restrictions. Their ships use technology the Council banned 50 years ago. Particle disruptors that shut down enemy systems without killing the crews." Clark looked shocked. "I didn't know we had such things." "Neither did the Varaxians," Rivera said with a grim smile. That was the point. Back on Earth, Chancellor Peterson received news of the battle. The cabinet room was silent as they watched the footage. "The Special Division ships worked perfectly," Goldstein said. 40 Varaxian warships, disabled without a single death on either side. "And the Varaxian crews?" Peterson asked. "Being held until we decide what to do with them. They're not happy, but they're alive." Foreign Minister Washington looked troubled. "This changes everything. The Varaxians attacked a human colony directly. It's an act of war." "No," Peterson said firmly. "It's exactly what we expected them to do. They're bullies. When we stood up to them, they tried to scare us back into line." She turned to Alvarez. "Send a message to the Varaxian High Command. Tell them their crews will be returned unharmed, but their ships are now our property as payment for the attack." "They'll be furious," Washington warned. "Good," Peterson said. "Let them know how it feels to be powerless. Let them understand what they did to our people at Proxima." Across the galaxy, news of the battle spread quickly. The mighty Varaxian fleet defeated without a shot fired. The secret human technology that could disable ships without destroying them. In the council chambers, the smaller species began to speak more boldly. Several announced trade agreements with humanity. Others questioned why the council had restricted human technology for so long. The balance of power was shifting, and humanity was just getting started. 2 months after humanity left the Galactic Council, an emergency meeting was called. The great chamber was filled with angry voices. Many seats were empty. Several smaller species had stopped attending. Supreme Counselor Jorak tried to bring order. His 6 arms waved in frustration. "The council will come to order," he shouted. The noise slowly died down. Jorak looked around the room. The empty seats worried him more than the angry delegates. "We are here to discuss the human situation," he said. "Their actions threaten the stability of the entire galaxy." A representative from the Mercantile Guild stood up. His 4 eyes blinked rapidly. "Human trade ships no longer visit our worlds. Prices for Earth goods have increased 10 times. 3 sectors report food shortages because human farming technology is no longer available. The humans are trying to pressure us," Zorak said. "We must stand firm." Ambassador Neelaton of the Centauri Federation rose next. Her skin glowed with anger. "Stand firm? The Varaxian fleet was defeated by technology we never knew the humans had. 40 warships disabled without a single death. A lucky surprise attack." Zorak dismissed her concern. "Was it also luck that 7 species have signed separate agreements with the humans?" Neelaton asked. "The Lyrans, the Talaxians, the Pelorans, all now trade directly with Earth. All now acknowledge the Proxima attack as deliberate. Jorax, skin darkened with anger. Those species will be punished for breaking council unity. By whom? Nilatan challenged. Your fleet is in no position to enforce anything, and many of us are tired of Varaxian rules. The chamber erupted again. Smaller species shouted support for Nilatan. Larger powers threatened punishment for any who defied the council. A junior aide rushed to Zorak's side and whispered urgent news. The Supreme Counselor's face showed shock. Is this confirmed? He asked the aide. When the young Varaxian nodded, Zorak turned back to the council. His voice had lost its usual strength. We have just received word that human ships have successfully tested a new propulsion system. They are now able to travel at speeds we thought impossible. The room fell silent. Faster ships meant humans could respond to threats anywhere in their territory within hours, not days or weeks. How is this possible? Asked the Thalassian representative. Our scientists say such speeds would tear a ship apart. The humans found a way around the problem, Zorak admitted. A way our scientists dismissed as too dangerous to try. Nilatan laughed without humor. And now we see the true cost of restricting human development. They did not share their best ideas with us. They kept them secret, waiting for the day they would be free to use them. Outside the council chamber, news traveled quickly. More species began questioning whether council membership was worth the restrictions it placed on them. Several reached out to Earth asking for meetings. On a distant world called Haven, Ambassador Richards met with representatives from the Arcturus Coalition, 15 species who had always been at the edges of council power. Humanity offers partnership, not control, Richards explained. We will share our technology freely with those who respect our independence. The Arcturian leader, a tall being with crystal-like skin, considered the offer. For centuries, the council has told us which technologies were safe to use. Now we see that was just a way to keep us weak. The council fears innovation, Richards said. Humanity embraces it. Together we can build something better than the council ever allowed. By the day's end, all 15 Arcturus species had signed agreements with Earth. The council's power base was shrinking fast. Back on Earth, Chancellor Peterson met with her cabinet. The mood was cautiously optimistic. 22 species have now recognized the Proxima attack as deliberate, reported Alvarez. 35 have signed trade agreements with us. And the Varaxians? Peterson asked. Still silent since their fleet was disabled, Goldstein said. But our spies report massive activity in their shipyards. They're building up for war. Peterson nodded. As expected, they can't accept the loss of face. Their entire empire is built on the idea that they are the strongest power in the galaxy. Do we have enough ships to stop them if they attack in force? Washington asked. Not yet, Goldstein admitted. But our new shipyards are working day and night, and the particle disruptor technology gives us a huge advantage. What about the other council powers? Peterson asked. The Thalassians are watching and waiting. The Centauri Federation seems to be turning in our favor. Nilatan has been opposing the Varaxians openly in council sessions. Peterson stood and walked to the large window overlooking Geneva. We need to push harder. It's time to show the galaxy what humanity can really do when we're not held back. She turned back to her cabinet. Activate Phase 2 of the Phoenix Protocol. The cabinet members looked at each other in surprise. Are you sure? Washington asked. Phase 2 was designed as a last resort. I'm sure, Peterson said firmly. The Varaxians are preparing for war. We need to show them why that would be a terrible mistake. Across human space, hidden facilities, activated. On Europa, scientists opened vaults containing research that had been banned by the Council for decades. On Mars, new weapons were installed on the latest ships. On Earth, the quantum communication network expanded, allowing instant communication across vast distances. 2 days later, humans revealed their greatest secret. In orbit around Jupiter, a massive structure uncloaked itself. It was a ring-shaped device 5 miles across. Energy pulsed through it in waves of blue light. The Einstein Gate is now operational, Chief Engineer Cruz reported to Chancellor Peterson. We can send a ship from Earth to the edge of human space in under an hour. Peterson nodded in satisfaction. Send the footage to every species in the galaxy. Let them see what council restrictions kept us from building. The Einstein Gate was more than just faster travel. It changed the entire balance of power. No longer could the larger empires use their size as an advantage. Human ships could appear anywhere in their territory with almost no warning. In the council chambers, the footage caused panic. Species who had been loyal to the council for centuries now questioned everything they had been told. If humans could build a transportation gate, what else might they create if left unchecked? Jorak watched the reactions with growing dread. The council was losing control, and it was all because of one human decision to walk away. 6 months had passed since humanity walked away from the Galactic Council. The balance of power had shifted dramatically. More than half of the council species now had direct agreements with Earth. The Einstein Gate had changed everything. Human ships could appear anywhere in known space within hours. On Earth, Chancellor Laura Peterson watched a small ship approach the planet. It was a Centauri diplomatic vessel, but it did not carry Ambassador Neela Tan. Instead, it brought a much more important visitor. The High Speaker of the Centauri Federation has entered Earth orbit, announced Maria Alvarez. This is the first time their leader has left Centauri space in 50 years. Peterson nodded. Make sure security is perfect. This visit must go smoothly. In the council chambers, only 28 species still attended regular meetings. The grand room felt empty. Supreme Counselor Zorak seemed smaller somehow. His once impressive presence diminished. The Centauri Federation has recalled all their representatives, he announced to the remaining delegates. They have officially suspended their membership in the council. Angry murmurs filled the room. The Centauri were one of the founding members of the council. Their departure was a severe blow. First the humans, now the Centauri, said the Thalassian representative. How many more will leave before we admit our mistake? Jorak slammed one of his arms on the table. What mistake? The council has maintained peace for 500 years. A peace that benefited the Varaxian Empire more than anyone else, replied the Thalassian. His stone-like face showed no emotion, but his words were sharp. Perhaps it is time for the council to change. Change? How? Zorak demanded. For a start, we could acknowledge the truth about Proxima Station. The room went completely silent. Even suggesting the Varaxians had deliberately attacked the human station was unthinkable just 6 months ago. Now it was said openly in the council chamber. Jorak's skin turned dark with anger. The Varaxian Empire will never admit to such a lie. Then the Varaxian Empire will find itself increasingly alone, the Thalassian said calmly. My government has authorized me to begin separate talks with Earth. One by one, other representatives stood to announce the same intention. The council was falling apart. On the distant world of Haven, Ambassador Richards received a message from Earth. He read it twice to make sure he understood. Then he smiled. The Varaxian High Command has requested a direct meeting with Chancellor Peterson, he told his staff. They're sending their war leader to Earth. The Varaxians are finally ready to talk? Asked his assistant in surprise. Not just talk, Richards said. The message says they're ready to acknowledge the Proxima attack. After 6 months of denials, they're finally admitting the truth. What changed their minds? Richards looked at the data screen showing the current galactic situation. Human space was now at the center of a new network of alliances and trade routes. The old council power structure was crumbling. They realize they can't win, he said, simply. Not against us and not against all our new allies. On Earth, Chancellor Peterson prepared to meet with both the Centauri High Speaker and the Varaxian war leader. It was a historic day. The two most powerful alien nations were coming to Earth as equals, not superiors. The meeting took place in Dawazi, the grand hall of the Earth government building. Peterson sat at the head of a large table. To her right was the Centauri High Speaker, a tall being whose skin glowed with shifting colors. To her left was the Varaxian war leader, dark purple and intimidating despite the defeat of his forces. Earth welcomes both of you, Peterson began. 6 months ago, humanity walked away from a council that refused to acknowledge our rights. Today we sit as equals to discuss a new way forward. The Varaxian war leader spoke first. His voice was deep and rough. The Varaxian Empire acknowledges that the attack on Proxima Station was deliberate. We regret this action. The words clearly pained him. Varaxians never admitted mistakes. 3,000 human lives were lost, Peterson said, her voice hard. Regret is not enough. We offer reparations, the war leader said, and a non-aggression treaty. Peterson nodded. That is a start, but there is more we must discuss. The Centauri High Speaker raised a delicate hand. The old council is dying, Chancellor Peterson. Too many species have seen the benefits of alliance with humanity. They will not return to the old system. What do you propose instead? Peterson asked. A new coalition, the High Speaker said. One where all species have equal voice. One where technology is shared, not restricted. One built on cooperation, not control. The Varaxian war leader shifted uncomfortably. The Varaxian Empire has concerns about unrestricted technology. You mean you fear losing your advantage? Peterson said bluntly. But that advantage is already gone. Humanity has shown what we can create when free of council restrictions. Others will follow our path with or without Varaxian approval. The war leader's eyes narrowed. You threaten us? No, Peterson said. I offer you a choice. Join us in building something better or watch from the outside as the rest of the galaxy moves forward without you. For 3 days, the talks continued. News of the meeting spread across human space and beyond. On colony worlds, humans watched and waited. In shipyards and research labs, work continued, but with new purpose. On the final day, Chancellor Peterson stood before the world press. The Centauri High Speaker and the Varaxian war leader stood beside her. Today we announce the formation of the Galactic Alliance, Peterson said. A new organization based on mutual respect and cooperation. All species will have equal representation. No technology will be restricted without unanimous agreement. The mistakes of the past will not be repeated. The Centauri High Speaker stepped forward. The Centauri Federation joins this alliance with hope for a better future. All eyes turned to the Varaxian war leader. For a moment he said nothing. Then slowly he nodded. The Varaxian Empire will join this alliance, he said. We have learned that even the strongest cannot stand alone. Across human space, people celebrated. What had begun as a desperate stand for justice had led to a complete reshaping of galactic politics. In her private office, Peterson looked out at the stars. We did what was right, she said softly. We walked away when we had to, and they followed, when they were ready. The decision to leave the council had been the hardest of her career. Now it was clear it had also been the most important. Humanity had found its true place in the galaxy, not as servants to older powers, but as equals. Not as followers, but as leaders. Sometimes walking away was the only way to move forward.